everyone, and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Vera, and on here I like to talk about anything that's going on in my knitting life. So today I thought I would talk about my 5 most worn items slash knitting patterns that I just kind of gravitate towards more than I gravitate towards others that I've made. I think it's always one of those things, it's like if you knit something you want to be able to wear it, but I think as a knitter you know very well that that's often not the case, just because it's difficult, like choosing yarns, choosing like textures that you like, choosing the right cut that you like, choosing the right color. There's just so many factors that play into how often you actually end up wearing a knit. Something that I find is like I love wool or yarn in different colors to what I love to wear. Like I'm the biggest like green lover, so like I'll always buy, or I'll always want to buy like a green yarn, where I kind of have to stop myself and say like, but you also like different colors and you can't have a fully green wardrobe. That doesn't work. So I think it's one of those things where you just need to find like a really good balance. Yeah, I'm a knitter out of Austria, so I probably have different yarns available to me to where you live. I think in the US especially, they kind of talk about the same yarns over and over again, and then when I look at the European version of those websites, it's either super expensive or the shipping is super like long or expensive, and it just kind of not like, we just have different yarn accessible to us here. That's not to say it's like all the yarn is different. I do use a lot of drops yarn, which you'll find, and I also order a lot of yarn. I mostly order it online. For all of these patterns and items that I'll be showing, I'll try to mention where I bought the yarn and if I remember how much I bought the yarn for, because that's always interesting. Okay, so before we start, I want to talk about what I'm wearing. This is not one of my 5 most worn items, but it is an item that I really enjoy wearing. This would probably be like number 6 or 7. Like this is definitely close to it. This is the cloud sweater by Kutovakika. I think I've worn it on here before. I made it holding 2 strands of the Kid Silk Mohair by Hobie together, like 2 different shades of blue, and it's just like this oversized, like very lightweight but yet very warm sweater. I love the color. I think it's really flattering on me. I knit this up on 6mm needles if I remember correctly. And yeah, overall just a really nice pattern as well. The only reason I don't love it is because the body, I'm gonna try to show you here, but the body goes out like this. Like, do you see how it's kind of like an A shape? And that is like not made, like that was not meant to happen. That when I wear it with certain pants, it just kind of gives me this really weird shape. So I usually end up having to tuck it, or like I end up tucking it anyways. But that's the only thing that I don't love about this sweater, and that probably keeps it from being on that top 5 most worn items list. But I guess there's always something. Other than that, I really like it. It's minimally scratchy. I think I'm like normal in terms of my sensitivity, so I don't know. I find something scratchy, I don't find other things scratchy. So this is like minimally scratchy, but it doesn't really, not enough to like bother me at all really. And yeah, so that is my cloud sweater by Kutovakika. Another thing is that I actually keep a spreadsheet about all the clothes I wear and like how often I wear which item. So I've been doing this on Google Sheets for over 3 years. I think I started in February of 2022, if that's correct, where I just kind of like took an inventory of my entire closet at the time and wrote down whenever I wore something. So like almost every single day I will go in and just kind of write down what I'm wearing that day. I have like a whole number system and like a whole formulary thing going on Google Sheets. But that means that the nice thing is that I know how often I wear clothes. I also track down how long I've owned a particular clothing item. This goes for my knitted items and for my non-knitted items. So I literally have everything in there, mind you, bar like accessories or like underwear or socks, shoes I do have in there. But for the purpose of this video, I mean, we're talking mostly about like knitted sweaters, I guess, or t-shirts or blouses or other things. So through that, I actually know which knits I wear and which I don't. So that's kind of cool. That's actually not the reason I keep the spreadsheet though. I keep the spreadsheet just to kind of like help me decide what I want to keep at the end of a season, what I might want to get rid of at the end of a season. It also helps me decide, like when I'm standing in the shop, like deciding on whether I'm going to buy a certain garment or not. If I like feel like it's worth it, like it kind of helps me decide like what's my wear per euro, or like euro per wear gonna be. I mean, it works for most things like, I mean, I just bought a wedding dress, obviously that's not gonna work, but for most like everyday items I try to be mindful of like how much I purchase. But with my knitted items, it's a little bit different. If I don't wear a knitted item, that's totally fine to me as well, if I enjoyed the process making it. But anyways, today I'm going to share my 5 most worn items. So to preface this also, I think the categories, or the I guess points that make me want to wear these items more than others is the wool I use, so the yarn choice I made, the fit of it, and the color of it. I think as knitters, we're always kind of faced with all these decisions about what yarn you're gonna use, so color-wise, texture-wise, like thickness-wise. I've seen knitters make like different, like the same pattern out of a completely like different gauge, in terms of making it out of a very loose fitting gauge where you can see through, or if you use like a really thick yarn and then you like have a really thick winter pullover. I think there's just such a wide range and like so many different combinations that are available to us, which I think is awesome and really cool. But I think reflecting on like the items I've worn most, I've kind of gotten an understanding what I like and what I don't like. So that's the like yarn that to use, and the fit, of course, the color, yeah, and also maybe how it goes with other things in my closet. I don't really know. I think I definitely choose my knitted item and then I like dress around it usually. But anyways, let's get started. So I have 4 items, like 4 tops and then like 1 accessory that I wear all the time, and one of them is actually my partner's, because I really wanted to include a men's item in here. If you don't knit for men, I'll put it at the end so you can like skip that part if that's not interesting to you. But I've also found that because I like knitting for my partner, who's like a guy of a normal build, I would say, it's really hard to find patterns. Like there's just not that many nice modern patterns for men for some reason, especially for pullovers. Like of course PetiteKnit has a number, but you know, once you want something else, it's not that easy, we're finding. So leave your favorite men's pattern down below if you have one, or if you're a male knitter, like what are you making for yourself? I'm just so curious, because we're having trouble. Like we're trying to figure out another sweater to make for him and we just can't really find like a nice pattern that we like. Anyways, let's get into my top 5 knitted patterns. These are not in order. I don't have my spreadsheet in front of me right now, so I can tell you like which ones I've worn like 50 times versus 20 times versus 5 times. I don't know. I've also like had them for different lengths of times. But my first one that I want to share, I've actually made twice because I love the first one so much. I was wearing it all the time, so I knew I needed to make another one. And that was my Elisabeth blouse. So this is the first one that I made, and this is the classic Elisabeth blouse with a double folded collar with the V opening at the front, but I made the adjustment of shortening the sleeves. I used 100% linen yarn that I acquired of a independent shop in Riga, so I don't know like where the yarn is from. It is 100% linen, so it just has that beautiful like lightness of linen, like the drape of it. So it kind of fits that I have the short sleeves. That was not a choice that I made consciously. It was a yarn restriction that I had. The reason I love this top so much is because of the construction. I think the collar just gives it such an elevated look. Like it's not just a t-shirt, it's almost like a polo kind of. And the V opening I think is also just really flattering, super beautiful. I will say that the V opening on this is quite low down. This is a size, I believe it's the size M, because my gauge was 24 stitches and not 22 or 23, whatever the pattern suggests. So I like sized up one to get the right size for me. And the only thing I would have changed is the opening of the V. It is pretty low. I don't really mind it. Like I'll wear like a bralette underneath, and if people see that, then people see that, that's fine. And I think the other main reason that I love wearing this blouse so much is because just the color of it is this like yeah, bluish gray color. It's a little bit more blue than what it looks like here on camera, or that I can see. But I think the color is just something that goes with jeans, that goes with whatever else you're wearing, like skirts and yeah, anything. So that's the first thing. And then of course the 100% linen is just such a treat in the summer when it's really hot. This is probably my knit that I can wear even on the hottest days, where I even want to stay away from things like cotton, or because I guess knitted cotton pieces for the summer are still a little bit thicker than your standard t-shirt. And this is probably the one that I can wear on those summer days as well. So yeah. In terms of the pattern, it is like an intermediate pattern. I would say it's definitely something that you should sit down and read before you start making it if you are like a newer knitter. The hardest part definitely is this front like double folded opening here, which I definitely also struggled with, especially working with 100% linen yarn, which is so unforgiving. And yeah, it is a raglan construction, top down knitted with this double folded collar up here. And then once you kind of reach like where you join the round, it's a very standard like raglan top. I did do some twisted ribbing at the bottom. Yeah, so that was my first Elisabeth blouse, and I made this just a year ago. So I made it in I guess it was, no, I made it in June, July of 2024. And I've worn it so much that I knew I wanted to make another one. And I did. This time I made it in long sleeve. So this is one of my newer cast-offs. I made this with a completely different yarn, and like the long sleeves as well are just like very differentiating from the other one, I guess. But I've worn this a number of times. Like I literally only casted it off in April, at the beginning of April, so like 6-7 weeks ago, and I've worn it over 10 times, which I think is a lot. So I've worn this like over once a week, and we're also getting into the hotter times, so I don't think I'll be able to wear it for that much longer. This I knit in size XS because the yarn I was using was one stitch, like I had one stitch too few in my 10 centimeter gauge. And the yarn I used was called Touch, which is a possum silk merino blend from the Beautiful Yarn Company, which my parents bought in New Zealand in a yarn shop there and brought it over. The other edit, or the other alteration I made from the pattern, was the V opening. So let me show you. Here you might be able to tell that this V opening is higher than the one on the t-shirt, because I felt like the t-shirt one was very low. So the way I did that was I just joined in the round a little bit earlier and did the pickups for the double folded brim or collar. Like I just did fewer of them to kind of reach the bottom here. It was really a fine modification to make. It really didn't require that much thinking or anything, but I just knew that's something that I wanted to do, knowing my other Elisabeth blouse. I've worn this a bunch of times. I think I like it because it's just so light. Like this yarn is so beautiful. It's in the color burnt orange and ink, by the way, so it's like dark gray and orange. And I don't know, there's just something about like a light long sleeves that's just so nice. Again, with the collar, I can wear this to work, I can wear this out like shopping, I can wear this whenever I want to, and it's just so lovely. I know I'll get so much more wear out of it, and yeah, very excited about it. Also loving the stripes, like it just kind of gives it something a little bit more playful. And yeah, so the Elisabeth blouse is definitely one of the top ones, like definitely made the top 5 like easily. And my mom actually requested that I make her version of the Elisabeth blouse, because she tried on this t-shirt and the sweater, loved them both, and she was like, I need one of these. So it's also a pattern that I think kind of like flatters most people. So yeah, that's the first one I wanted to talk about. Then the second item, I say item, but it's more like a pattern that I want to talk about, are my knitted socks. And I have a lot of them, and I didn't knit all of these myself. A lot of these my grandmother also made. And yeah, so I wanted to include these because I was really thinking like, what do I truly wear the most out of all my knitted things? Of course, I could have included hats and gloves and stuff, but I feel like I just have a few that I rotate in between. And also, I don't know, a hat, there's so many out there and they're all relatively similar. But with socks, I find that I'm picky. I'm picky with the ones I wear. So these are the ones I rotate through. These are the ones you can probably see, like they're very like felted, some of them. Some of them weren't even made for myself. I know these ones were made for my grandfather, and I just kind of have them now. These, my grandma taught me like how to knit, or how to knit socks basically. She taught me how to knit and then she taught me how to make socks. And that's just how I make all my socks now. Like if I'm making just a mindless pair of socks, this is the pattern I will use. I don't think the pattern is written down anywhere, but it's essentially like your standard, like how do you say, cuff down, heel, flap and gusset, and then your regular like toe decreases here. And there's just something about it that molds to your foot that in the winter is so nice to wear. I mean, you can see these are super felted here. Like these definitely have so much wear and tear. Some of these are probably older than me of my stack that I have here, but they just work. Like we always, or the ones I've made, I think my grandma is similar. She's made them out of the 4-ply sock yarn by either Schachenmayr or Regia, or like any German brand's 4-ply sock yarn that they were able to buy in the shop back then, I guess. And they're all kind of like that. Like this one, the blue one, has like a 2x2 rib at the cuff. I don't know if you can see that. This one, these ones are funny because these were my first socks ever, and I was just like, I did not want to make the cuff. I must have been like, I don't know, 15, and I just didn't want to make the cuff, and I also ran out of yarn, so they're kind of like mismatched. But then I put like a thread in, and they were kind of my go-to socks for a really long time. I don't really wear them anymore, but these, oh boy, they got like a lot of wear. So I wanted to include these in here because I wear these almost like on the daily in the winter. On the cold days, I'll even wear them in my winter boots to go to work, to wear my house shoes with. We have a very like German/Austrian house shoe culture here, which I know is mind-blowing to others. Basically, when we go to work, or some people, like not everyone does it now, but like, I don't know, when you go to work and it's the winter and you don't want to wear your winter boots, you go wear your house shoes. So I have like my Birks that I wear at work, they're my house shoes, and there's nothing nicer than hand knitted socks in those house shoes. It's just comfort, like it's so nice. And like everyone does it, so I think it's okay. Like most people have a pair of house shoes under the desk here. Anyways, yeah, so these are my vanilla socks. Maybe I'll actually make like a tutorial on them. I mean, they're literally like, if you've made socks before, this is like your most basic sock pattern. I don't know, let me know if you want a tutorial. I don't think there's anything that special about them, but it's just one of those things, like once you've found your perfect sock construction that you know you want to wear, like it's hard to deviate. I've made colorwork socks and I just have trouble, like, you know, I still wear them, but not as often because like the colorwork will be a little bit tighter and harder to get into and a little bit more fragile, it seems. Like with these, I can do whatever I want. Like I can run around in these, like I can wear them just in Birks and be good to go, and I can do whatever. And I feel like with the colorwork ones are like, I have 2 colorwork socks, and I think I have ones with like lace, do I? I don't even know. But they just seem fragile and then I don't want to wear them this much. So these are my socks right here. The colors are also like forever old. I don't even know if they sell most of these color combinations anymore. But anyways, socks are also one of my most worn knitted items. But back to sweaters. Okay. Another one of my most worn items is this one. This beautiful cardigan, and this is the Honey Cardigan by Kutovakika of her first book, which I think is called Knit This. And it's basically all like relatively simple, easy to follow knitting patterns. And I was intrigued by this honey cardigan. I mean, in the name comes from the pattern in her book, which she made in this beautiful like honey colored yellow. But I made it in the Drops Air in this maroon color. I think it's color raspberry. And it is knit up in a half fisherman's rib stitch. And like you make these panels and then you kind of like sew them together. And honestly, this is a cardigan that I just wear in the morning when it's cold out, or in the winter I wear it over like a thinner, like long sleeve, and it just keeps me so warm. This yarn is such a thick, warm yarn, and also coupled with the fisherman's or half fisherman's rib stitch, it's just like gives you that extra warmth. And I work in a really old building, so the heating is always like a little bit hit and miss. Like now we don't have any heating, although it's like 6 degrees in the morning, or at least I don't think we have heating, because anyways, so I'm always like looking for something that will keep me warm when it's still a little bit colder in the morning, and this just does. I think the reason I like this cardigan so much is the color. I think this is just like very flattering on me. This is a color that also matches most other things. Like it matches black, it matches white, it matches gray, blue, anything you can wear with this, so that's really nice. And I like that it's a cropped fit. Like this kind of like rests right at my pants line, maybe a little bit like lower down, and I think that's just like a perfect, yeah, fit for a cardigan. I didn't add the buttons, I guess that's the modification I made. There's a button band here, and I think I even made the buttonholes, but I just didn't add the buttons because I just didn't feel a need to. I have them, so I always said like if I miss them I'll put them on, but I just haven't because I haven't really needed them. The only thing I would change if I made another one is do decreases on the sleeve. As you can see, it's like there's no decreases, so at the cuff it's definitely like a little bit wide, which I know is like a thing now and a lot of designers do, and especially Kutovakika, all of her sleeves are really wide. And for this one, I don't know, but I would just prefer a little bit of a thinner sleeve or like a narrower sleeve, so that's something I would do, but it doesn't really bother me not to wear it. Like it's not really, yeah, not an issue. So yeah, I mean, a super simple, nice cardigan. In terms of the yarn and stitch definition, it's definitely kind of like, it actually looks way better on camera than it does like in actual life. Like the stitches are not this defiant the way you see them here, I think. So it kind of gives it this like fuzzy look without actually losing any of the fuzz. It is a more affordable yarn. I think I bought one skein for €3.70, and I know that this is exactly 200 grams. So super cheap cardigan, I guess. This is probably like under 15 euros. So that's also nice. And yeah, I just find that this is something that I can wear almost every day, and maybe I'll make another one in a bit of a more autumn spring yarn, because this is definitely something that is a bit too warm towards the warmer months. But yeah, so that's the honey cardigan by Kutovakika. I made this in the smallest size, I believe, and it works, but it's definitely like small on, like it's not small, but it's definitely cropped on me. But that's kind of what I was going for anyways. Okay, the next item that I've worn a whole lot, and I haven't even like had it off my needles for that long either. It's just been like a good few months of knitting for things that I actually wear, I guess. And that is this sweater. Well, it's a big one. It is called the Simple Things sweater, and the designer here is Veronica Lindberg or Kutovakika. And I made this using the Hobie Upcycled Alpaca blend in color 02, which is called Wheat. And I knit it on, what did I knit it on? 4.5mm needles. Essentially, it is this like front and back panel construction that you then eventually join in under the arms. It is a drop shoulder, as you can see here, and it's a really oversized and boxy fit. Like this is definitely, I think this has around 40 centimeters of positive ease, which I was super skeptical of at the beginning. And yeah, so there are multiple things to this garment that I think make it why I want to wear it so often. The first one is the boxy fit, which is the thing I was super like nervous about at the beginning. But I think there's just something about a drop shoulder, like relaxing, like fit, that is just like really nice. There's no decreases on these sleeves either, but for some reason on this one, because of all this ribbing here, it doesn't bother me. Like it's really nice and just like it fits the whole vibe of it. The bottom here as well has like a really thick ribbing, which I think helps the boxy fit, like, because it does cinch in ever so slightly at the bottom. Nothing like dramatic or something, so it doesn't look weird. But I think, I don't know, I think maybe I do like oversized garments more than I think I do. I mean, a little bit oversized is fine, but like 40 centimeters of positive ease is a lot. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is definitely the material I chose for it. So it is like an alpaca wool polyester mix, I guess. So it's like 33% of each of those. And there's something about that just makes it, like, the drape is beautiful. It really has like the kind of, like, you can tell that it's made with an alpaca content yarn. And it is also pretty soft. When I knitted with this yarn, it was like heavenly. It was beautiful. It was so nice. When I finished the garment, I was really nervous because then it started itching for some reason. I don't know why. I don't even know like where that came from, because in the balls, the yarn like was just the most soft thing I've ever touched, it felt like. So it started itching, then I blocked it. It's a lot better now. It's still like a tiny little bit itchy, but really I really don't get bothered by it at all. And the yarn is just so lovely. Like, it's warm, and I can, like, now is the time of year where I can wear the sweater out with nothing else on, and that's just like my ideal. And I think part of the yarn is also the color I chose. I chose it like in a neutral color, kind of like matches, I don't know, the undertone of my hair, I would say, maybe a little bit, I don't know. But it's just something that I can wear with anything, and it's just like a timeless piece. And I've worn this, I costed this off in March, and I've worn this so often. I've worn this like, I think it's like over 15 or 16 times. So I know that this is gonna be a sweater that I gravitate towards more and more, and I've already worn it so many times. I think part of it is also just the twisted rib is just such a crisp, like, oh, it's just so nice. It just elevates the whole piece. Yeah, there's very little I dislike about this pattern, in all honesty. I didn't make any modifications. I knit it exactly to the pattern, and now I'm left with a sweater that I know I will, you know, gravitate towards. There's no pilling yet. Like, there's definitely a little bit of like, yeah, the stitches are kind of settling into their shape. There's no pilling yet. There's like a little bit of fluff here, if you can see it, but nothing to worry about. So yeah, also one of my most worn items right here, the Simple Thing sweater by Kutovakika. Okay, now the fifth and last item that I want to share here. This is probably the most worn item. It is my partner, so it is a men's version, but there is a female version of this sweater, and I am very close to costing it on. Probably not the summer, but like as soon as it gets like a little hint of coldness in the air, you better bet that this will be on my needles. It is the, here, PetiteKnit quarter zip. Ta-da! It's really big because, like I said, it is my partner's, but it's the, she has two versions of this pattern. So there is a regular, so it's just called the quarter zip men, I think. Or man, and then there is this one, which is the quarter zip or zipper sweater light man. Light just means that the gauge is a little bit yeah, thinner. It uses a, I think it's a 21 stitch gauge, and the regular one uses a 17 stitch gauge. My partner, my fiance, wears this sweater so religiously. He loves this thing. I don't know how many times he's worn it. I don't keep track of his clothing. I only keep track of mine. But I cost this off in December, and he's worn it, like, I would say at least 2 or 3 times a week when because he works from home, so he just like has this on. When he goes out, today we were out shopping, he wore this sweater. It's just like what he grabs, or what he like always kind of like throws on, whether when he has to go outside. If it's a bit colder in the house, he'll also wear it. Now, the specs of the sweater is that it is a top-down, double-folded collar, a raglan construction, which I think raglan is always just a little bit nicer because you don't have so much fabric in the underarm section. With a drop shoulder, it can be that there's like a lot of like fabric collecting here. And while I don't mind that in my sweaters, I know he would. Like, he's quite picky in like what he likes in his garments and whatnot, which is totally fair. And yeah, then you kind of like knit the sweater. It's all stockinette with a, I think I did regular ribbing at the bottom and at the sleeves, and then you install the zipper as your last step, kind of. This was the hardest part, installing the zipper, for sure. It's definitely something that requires a lot of patience and just a lot of like repinning it to make sure it doesn't like scrunch up. I almost got it perfect, but there's like a tiny little wave here, if you can kind of see it. So I made this sweater using 4.5mm needles, and I used the yarn called Bluefaced Leicester Fleece in the weight DK. So it had a gauge of, I believe it was 20 or 21 stitches. And I used the color, I think it's called Fossil, so it's like this dark gray, or this medium gray I would actually call it. And I used just over 5 skeins for this, and this is a men's size M. So I think it's 510 grams, 1 skein of the Bluefaced Leicester Fleece. We bought it in Edinburgh in Scotland, so it was like £13, I think. We bought it in a local yarn shop, 13 pounds, and then I had to order another one for the cuff, which was around 15 euros something. It is 100% wool yarn, and he just really likes that. He likes the breathability of the wool. It's not an itchy yarn at all. However, because he's worn it so many times, I really need to shave this for him, because it's definitely pilling. Like, it's definitely losing some of it. I hope you can see it here. Yeah, you can see that it's kind of pilling quite a bit. It is like a fleece yarn, so I guess, I don't know if that means it's gonna fleece. I guess it does. If you look at the collar, so that's kind of where he'll have like a lot of skin contact. It's definitely also like getting quite fuzzy here and like fleecing up a little bit. I think it kind of adds to it. I don't think it's something that necessarily looks bad. Yeah, on the shoulders as well, like in the underarm section, the yarn is definitely kind of like showing its wear, but I really don't think that's a bad thing. Like on the cuff here, you can kind of see the pilling quite well here. But it's nothing major. I think I'll just like go over it with a shaver and then it'll be completely fine. Like I said, he wears this thing so often. If I had to estimate, he's probably worn this like over 50 times. That's my best guess. So I think for that, this yarn is holding up really, really well. And yeah, I have the same yarn in a green color to make this sweater or this pattern for myself, because I just love this one. It was a pretty nice experience making it. I think it's just a lot of stockinette and a lot of raglan. And yeah, I'm looking forward to making one for myself to hopefully also wear it as much as he does. I kind of like asked him like, why do you love the sweater so much? And he said it's mainly that he has 3 sweaters right now that I made for him. And he said that this one he prefers over the other 2 because of the lighter gauge. So this one has a 20 stitch gauge with a DK weight yarn, where the other 2 are definitely worsted weight yarns at around 17 stitches per 10 centimeters. So he just prefers like the little bit of a lighter garment. Yeah, so that is the last item, the zipper sweater light by PetiteKnit. Okay, so those are my 5 most worn knitted items. I tried to be really realistic with it and not pick something that's really beautiful just because it's nice that I actually don't wear that much. I do definitely have items that I'm trying to wear more, but it's just not that easy. And these are kind of the ones that I like the most. I think it's, like I said at the beginning, it comes down mainly to material and cut for me personally. I think the socks is another thing. The socks is also just a practicality. The warmth that you get from a knitted sock is just not comparable to the warmth that you'll get from a fluffy synthetic sock or a cotton sock that you can buy in the shop. There's just something so nice about like a woolen knitted sock. If you know, you know. And the other items are just kind of like my wardrobe staples, I guess, if you want to call them that. The ones I always gravitate towards, the ones that I would make over and over again, that I will make again. Like the zipper sweater light I'll make again, the Elisabeth blouse I've made 2 of, and I'm gonna make a 3rd one. And actually, my dad also asked for a zipper sweater. So I guess I'll be making a lot of zipper sweaters in the near future, but that's totally fine. I would rather knit something that I actually get a lot of wear out of than knit something that I don't end up wearing. But of course, sometimes you just don't know. So I would love to know what your most worn knits are. So please leave a comment down below. What is the item? Can be anything, sweater, hat, socks, whatever, scarf. What's the one item that you wear the most out of all of your knits? For me right now, the one I wear the most right now, like this current season / time of life, is the Simple Thing sweater, and I think that's judging from like the last 2 months. I'm just obsessed with this thing. I don't know, it's the color I love, the drape I love. It's just, I can pair it with tighter jeans, with looser jeans. It just works with everything right now. And yeah, so this is my most worn piece currently. I know that can change. But yeah, I would love to know what yours are down below. So that's already the end of the video today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, I'd love for you to stick around and subscribe. So go hit the button and yeah, leave a like, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.